Today, we're going to set up your Live2D model inside Live2D Cubism, so you too can do the warp dance. Do the warp dance. Hey, it's Shannon May, and I'm back with little tutorial Chan here. Previously, we divided up her parts to import into Live2D, and today we're going to set her up inside the software. Now, if you haven't made a model to import into Live2D yet, but you'd like to practice rigging, there will be a link to tutorial Chan's PSD file in the description below. Feel free to download and follow along. Our first task of the day is to find where we have our PSD saved and drag it into Live2D. And here she is. If you look up the parts panel, you'll see everything will be arranged in the order that you had your Photoshop layers. If you find that you've forgotten to add a folder, as you can see I have here, so I'm going to click the little folder button to create a new one. I'm just going to create one for my guide images. There we go. Okay, so let's talk meshes. Every part will need a mesh in order to be animated. There are a few parts that will work better with manually created meshes, where you create the mesh point by point, but just for now, we're going to set an automatic mesh for every part, as we can always go back in and edit them later. To create your meshes, select everything in the View panel by clicking and dragging, or shift-click in the Deformer panel at the bottom and top of the list to select every part that needs a mesh. Then up here, hit the automatic mesh generator. I'm going to use standard deformation here, but if you'd like less points to work with, choose deformation little, or if you want more deformation points, choose deformation heavy. Now, when you select individual parts of your model, they should all look like little climbing frames. Now you need to put these meshes into a texture atlas. To do this, select all of your parts again as we did before, and hit this button up here to create a new texture atlas. Set the width and height as you require. I usually go for 4096 pixels and under, as anything higher can lag my machine a lot. But if you're working on a powerhouse computer rig or something, feel free to make it higher. You want the layout to only contain displayed model images in the dropdown, so that it won't accidentally include your guide image layers. Tick Automatically Layout and hit OK. Here you'll see the software has created a page of all your VTuber's parts. Double check that there are no part overlaps, there shouldn't be, but if there are, you can easily click and drag or rotate the pieces to make it fit. When you're happy with your texture atlas, hit OK. Before we approach Deformers, consider setting your draw order. By default, Live2D will set every part to 500. This is an optional step, but if you intend to move draw order around during animations later, for example, if you have arms that can go in front or behind your model during different animations, you may wish to do this. To set this up, select a part, and then in the draw order box in the inspector, you can enter a number. The lower the number, the further back the part will be. So if I set the back of the hair to 1, that will guarantee that the back of the hair is always at the back of the model and won't accidentally change order and appear in front of another part. Now onto what I consider the trickiest part. Setting up your deformer hierarchy. I'll show you how to set up individual deformers first. Go to the bar up here and click this button here to create a warp deformer. We'll call this Body Z. Once you've clicked OK, keep Body Z selected and create another warp deformer. Make sure you have as child of selected deformer selected and call this Body X. When a deformer is a child of another deformer, it means that the movements created in the parent will be passed on to the child. This way, for example, you can have the whole body move as one, moving all parts, but you'll still be able to deform individual limbs. Make one more warp deformer and call it Body Y and make it a child of Body X. Now we create a rotation deformer with this button up here. We'll call it neck rotation. Unlike warp deformers, which allow you to warp the part, rotation deformers turn your part around a set point, so it's great for parts like limbs or parts that swing, like hanging earrings. Now you've probably already worked out that there are going to be more than 4 deformers here. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you completely on your own to create the rest. Using the methods I've just taught you, namely the create new warp and rotation deformer buttons, you'll need to build a deformer hierarchy like the one I've popped on screen now. This is the standard template I use when I create a new model. This may need small modifications if your model has extra parts, or extra deformers later if you decide you need them, but for now this should be enough for a basic model. I'll link the template in the description below too, so you have a visual guide to work from outside the video. So now we've got our hierarchy, we can drag our pieces into the correct places. Some are very obvious, so the arms go into the arms, legs go into the legs, but just watch where I pop things now so that everything is in the correct place. Now you might have noticed that when you click on a deformer, your deformer boxes or rotation deformers might be the wrong size or slightly in the wrong place, like this one here. To change a warp deformer, hold Control on your keyboard and grab onto the little red nubbins and drag the box around till it's positioned above the part it's supposed to deform, just like this. To change a rotation deformer, select the deformer, hold Control, and then click and drag the deformer around. The centre of the circle is the axis or anchor point with which the part will rotate around. And that's about it for this part of the video. I really hope you had fun, and next time we'll actually be able to make things move around with parameters, so look forward to that. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next week.